In 1993, Australian author David Malouf released Remembering Babylon, a novel acclaimed for its exploration of cultural clashes. Drawing inspiration from the real-life encounters of British sailor James "Gemmy" Fairley, the story delves into the experiences of a European child thrust into a non-Western environment. Much like Malouf's earlier work, An Imaginary Life, which delves into Virgil's exile in contemporary Mongolia, Remembering Babylon grapples with themes of isolation, language acquisition, and the complexities of cultural interaction. Through a close third-person narrative centered on Gemmy Fairley, Malouf skillfully weaves a tale where perspectives shift, reflecting the gradual unfolding of truth and understanding. Set against the backdrop of an early Queensland settlement in the 1850s, Gemmy's journey unfolds after he is rescued by Aboriginal tribes following a childhood accident at sea. 16 years later, Gemmy decides to leave the bush and reintegrate with European society. As he navigates this transition, Malouf illuminates the contrasting attitudes of the Aboriginals, who are deeply connected to the land, and the incoming Australians, who view it with suspicion and seek to dominate it. Gemmy's initial encounter with a group of boys, led by the youthful Lachlan Beatty, provides insight into the divergent perceptions of the landscape. While the boys engage in playful activities in the Australian bush, their portrayal of hunting wolves underscores their distance from the natural environment and their European perspective. Upon their first encounter with Gemmy, the boys are taken aback by his sun-darkened skin and bleached hair, mistaking him for an albino native. Gemmy, now a young man, struggles to recall English phrases, further fueling their apprehension. Sensing a threat, Lachlan brandishes a stick as a makeshift weapon, prompting Gemmy to surrender in the face of perceived violence. The settlers harbor deep suspicions about Gemmy's presence, fearing he may be an Aboriginal spy sent to gather intelligence on their settlement's vulnerabilities. In their private discussions, Malouf portrays Gemmy as a destabilizing force, challenging their notions of civilization, language, and racial identity. Despite their growing animosity towards him, Gemmy finds allies among the settlers. Jock McIver, a Scottish farmer, defends Gemmy and offers him shelter, while Reverend Fraser praises Gemmy's adaptation to the environment rather than imposing his will upon it. Even the school teacher, Abbott, admires Gemmy's resilience in surviving the harsh land. Janet McIver and Lachlan Beatty, McIver's daughter and nephew, provide comfort to Gemmy and encourage him to reclaim his native language. As time passes, the settlers debate the fate of Gemmy, unsure of how to proceed in light of the complex dynamics his presence has stirred among them. Although settled by the coast, the inhabitants live in close proximity to the untamed wilderness, deeply fearful that prolonged exposure to this other world will erode their fundamental identity. Their apprehensions eventually spiral into violence as a group viciously assaults Gemmy before expelling him from their midst. Though Gemmy vanishes, his impact on the town is indelible. Those who once stood by him now find themselves ostracized by their community, haunted by the specter of Gemmy's exile and the looming question of their own identity loss. This minority faction begins to adopt an Aboriginal perspective towards the land, viewing it as something to be revered and harmonized with rather than controlled and subjugated. Despite efforts by individuals like Minister Mr. Fraser to advocate for Gemmy's ecological ethos to the local governor, Sir George dismisses both Fraser and Gemmy's insights. The narrative shifts to World War I, hinting at Gemmy's demise during a raid on a native settlement. Lachlan, now a government minister, visits his cousin Janet, who has found solace in a convent following a transformative religious experience. As they reminisce about Gemmy while strolling through a garden, they reflect on his call for introspection and reverence, pondering the enduring impact of his teachings on their lives. I hope you enjoyed this video. Leave a like if you did and be sure to subscribe. Thank you.